The most dangerous neighborhoods in GTA explained. There's one street on this map so cursed the gang that built it doesn't even own it anymore. First, 6 neighborhoods that kill you quieter, and most of them you'd drive straight through without blinking. I've bled on everyone, made a few people bleed too, so take the tour from someone who knows which corners you don't walk away from. Number 7. Cypress Flats. Down in the southeast corner of Los Santos, past the docks and the freight yards, the city stops pretending to be a city. Cypress Flats is all factories, warehouses, and chain-link fence gone orange with rust. Almost nobody lives here. That's the whole problem. You drive into the flats to shake a cop and it works. Then it hits you that the same empty streets that hid you from the law will hide whatever happens to you next. No crowds. No one close enough to hear it. And there's one building out here you should know about. The Raven Slaughterhouse over on Orchardville Avenue. Looks like a dead meat plant. It belongs to the Triads. When Wei Cheng's people need a quiet room for a conversation that only goes one way, this is the room. Folks walk in. Fewer walk out. The Vagos drift through the south end of the flats too, running their own errands, and they hate an audience. So you've got a Chinese crime syndicate on one block, a street gang on the next, and a whole lot of nobody in between to notice you bleeding. Cypress Flats won't jump you the second you show up. It just waits. It's the quietest, dangerous place on this list, and quiet out here is worse than loud. I've done work in this neighborhood. I won't tell you what kind. Number 6. Little Seoul. Head back into the city and the danger puts on a nice suit. Little Seoul sits just west of downtown. Neon signs, late-night restaurants, families eating dinner. Looks harmless. It isn't. 2 crews run this district and neither one plays street games. First, the Triads, led by Wei Cheng, with his son Tuo doing the talking and doing it badly. Cheng smuggles guns and meth between China and the port of Los Santos. He owns half the block and rents fear on the other half. Then there's the Kakang Pai, the Korean mob, down on Ginger Street. Small crew, genuinely nasty. They fight the Triads over the same drug money, so the whole district sits on a crack that could open up any given night. Here's why Little Seoul scares me more than a shootout in the hood. Street gangs warn you. They wear the colors. They throw the signs. You always know exactly who wants you dead. The Triads and the Kakangpai don't warn anybody. They smile, they shake your hand, they pour you a drink, then one phone call gets made, and you never even see the car roll up behind you. I did business with Cheng once. He sent his boy Tao to meet me, and it went sideways fast. By the end, I'd slammed Tao's head into a wall until he coughed up a name. That's Little Seoul in one sentence. Everybody's polite right up until the exact second they aren't. Number 5. El Burro Heights. Now we cross into East Los Santos, and this is Marabunta Grande turf. Blue bandanas, full face tattoos, the kind that tell you a person stopped planning for a future a long time ago. These are the ones I actually respect. And respect is not something I hand out. The Marabunta are Salvadoran, and Rockstar built them straight off MS-13. The real gang that made the machete a household word. In the game, they run El Burro Heights and stretch down to Vespucci Beach. At night, they're out on the porches and sidewalks, clocking everybody who rolls past. Provoke them and they don't line up for a fair fight. They swarm, and it's over fast. Their real war isn't with you. It's with the Aztecas, the other big Hispanic crew, and those two claw at each other over the drug and gun trade like it's the only thing keeping them upright. Out here, it is. You've already met the Marabunta, whether you clocked it or not. Remember when Michael's idiot son tried to sell his dad's boat and some guys just took the whole thing? That was them. The mission's called Father-Son, and it tells you everything you need to know about this crew. They saw a crack of an opening, and they walked off with the entire boat. Here's my honest read. Pound for pound, the Marabunta are meaner than half the bigger names on this map. They're just smaller, so they don't make the headlines. Walk through El Burro at night in the wrong shirt and you'll learn how quickly small stops mattering. Number 4. Rancho. Rancho is where the map stops drawing clean lines. It sits right in the middle of everybody, so everybody fights over it. You've got the Vagos here, the biggest Hispanic gang in Los Santos, wearing yellow and repping a losing football team called the LS Pounders. You've got a Ballas set, the South Rancho crew, holding down their corners in purple, and the Aztecas push in from the north end too, modeled on the real Chicano gangs that run the streets near the border. 3 crews, one short stretch of blocks, every one of them dead sure it all belongs to them. That's the danger right there. It isn't one gang you can read and route around. It's a color wheel where every color wants the other 2 gone. Roll through in green and the Ballas clock you. Roll through in purple and the Vagos clock you. Roll through in nothing and now you're just a witness, which somehow ends worse. The Vagos are the ones you'll trip over most. Loud, everywhere, and hungry. There's a TV show in the game, The Underbelly of Paradise, that claims they've got ties to real mafia money. So these aren't only kids on a corner. They're kids on a corner with a phone number for someone you really don't want showing up. Rancho doesn't have one famous mission that made its name. It doesn't need one. It's just a place where 2 or 3 separate wars all happen to share the same sidewalk on the same night. Pick a color or pick a coffin. Out here, that's still the whole menu. Number 3. Sandy Shores. Now we leave the city behind and drive out to Blaine County. The dirt, the heat, and meth in every trailer. This one's mine, so I'll give you the honest version. Out here, there's no law. The cops don't bother driving this far into the sand, and that isn't a bug in the map. That's the entire reason people like me settled here in the first place. 3 crews carve up this desert, and they all hate each other's guts. First, the Lost MC Bikers, built off the real Hells Angels, all leather and rumble and bad decisions. They park at a trailer camp the locals named Stab City, and I don't think I need to walk you through how a place earns a name like that. Their chapter president out here was a man named Johnny Klebitz, who dragged this whole club west from Liberty City looking for a fresh start. He did not find one, was their president. I'll come back to that. Second, the Aztecas, run by a guy named Ortega, dug in near the Alamo Sea. Third, the O'Neill brothers, a family of backwoods meth cooks holed up on a ranch out in Grapeseed. Every one of these crews wanted to own the drug trade in this desert. Every single one of them ran into me instead. Let me save you the long version. I killed Johnny and took the Lost's airfield for myself. I blew Ortega's trailer sky high, and when the Aztecas came out to the meth lab for payback, me and Chef put them in the sand. Then the Triads picked the O'Neills over me for a deal, so I drove out to that ranch and burned the whole inbred family down to the foundation. Sandy Shores is the most dangerous place I've ever lived. It's also the only place that ever felt like home. You can make of that whatever you want. Number 2. Chamberlain Hills. Back into South Los Santos now, and we're standing in the family's front room. This is where the green flag flies the highest. Chamberlain Hills belongs to the Chamberlain gangster families, the biggest set the families have got. The locals call it Killer Hills, and trust me, they didn't pick that name to be funny. The heart of it is the Crystal Heights projects, and if you don't belong there, every set of eyes on the block knows it inside 2 seconds. This is Franklin's home turf. It's Lamar's. It's where 2 kids tried to grind their way out of a neighborhood that eats its own. The families here are modeled on the real Crips, right down to the 8 tray set and the green, so you already know exactly who the sworn enemy is. Purple. Always purple. It never changes. What makes Chamberlain dangerous isn't the gang alone. It's how tight the place is wound. Everybody knows everybody. A stranger sticks out like a siren going off. Fire a single shot on their turf and it isn't only the families who answer. It's the families and the cops at the same time, and now you're fighting a war on both sides of one narrow street. This is the proud version of a ganghood. Organized, loyal, locked in, and that pride is the exact thing that gets people buried here. Because nobody backs down, and nobody ever forgets a face. Which brings us to the one place on this map that's even worse than Killer Hills. The place sitting right next door. Number 1. Davis. And yeah, Grove Street. If you ever played San Andreas, that name just landed in your chest like a fist. Grove Street, home of the families, CJ's whole world. Back in the day, the single most famous street in the entire history of these games. Here's the part that'll ruin your afternoon. In this game, the families don't hold it anymore. Grove Street sits in Davis now, and Davis is Ballas ground, purple from one end to the other. The families got pushed clean out, and their legendary street got swallowed whole by the set they hate most on this earth. The original Covenant Ballas. The greatest hood in GTA history is enemy territory now. Sit with that one for a second. Davis is the most gang-soaked patch of the whole map. Almost the entire city answers to the Ballas. A drive-by out here is a normal Tuesday. A car slows down next to you and your whole story ends right there on the curb before you finish your sentence. The families still push in around the edges near Carson Avenue, so the war never actually stops. It just slides from one block to the next and keeps going. You've stood on this street already. That deal in Hood Safari, where Franklin, Lamar, and I walk onto Grove Street and it turns into a running gunfight against wave after wave of Ballas. That's not a mission. That's Davis introducing itself. You come for one small thing, and the entire neighborhood pours out to kill you over it. Davis was called Ganton once. A long time ago, back when a different kid was running these streets and the flag over Grove was still green. Now it's the deadliest ground on the map, sitting right on top of the most famous street in gaming. Flown by the wrong gang. That's why it's number 1. Not because it's the loudest, because it's personal, and it's been personal for 20 years and counting. I've torched half the places on this list myself. I'd happily torch this one too, but even I know better than to plant a flag on Grove Street. That corner was burning long before I ever showed up, and it'll still be burning long after they put me in the ground. Next time I'm driving out to Leonida to see which gangs think they're going to run GTA 6. Spoiler, they're not.